Hey there, I'm David Barefoot, and this is the Holy Shift Podcast. As a reminder, we always do it. There's a Y in the word shift, which represents a fork in the road. And every moment of every day, we have a choice. We hit a fork. It can be the less than outcome, the less we show up less than, we get less than results because we're just on autopilot. And we're not choosing to be fully present, and we're not choosing to be intentional about the outcome that we want. Or we get a chance to shift and be aligned with the fact that we get to lean into whatever it is, even if it's tough. And today's a great day to be reminded of that with what we're going to cover. We left off last week talking about the pit to peak, getting in touch with your current reality. And that current reality was a dream, or much of it was, for you, say 5 years ago. But today, where you're at, we asked you to look at a frame that frames your current reality, looking at where you're at in your health and vitality, where you're at in your connection to yourself and God, where you're at in relationships with your wife and kids and the key people of your life, and where you're at in business and money. We said defining what's working for you there, but also what's not working. We said that is going to serve as your pit. Well, to really look at that, this is the difference. The difference that makes the difference. Because if we're not rot gut honest with ourselves, if we don't get in touch with the facts about where we're at, then we're living in fantasy. So the statement I'd have you consider, the facts will set you free. Don't get hung up on the truth will set you free and the scripture aspect of that. Let's dig one notch deeper to something you can get crystal clear on, because your mind and your emotions will debate what is the truth. And you get caught up in logic and emotion, and your perspective on truth changes. Truth may not change, the ultimate truth, but your perspective change. Here's what doesn't change for you and what you can zero in on: the fact of whether or not you like where you're at in your body. Let's take one of the 4 domains we've been talking about. If you don't like your weight, if you don't like your energy level, if you don't like your physicality, if you don't like the current readings of your blood or body fat content or LDLs and cholesterol, those are all facts that you can measure. And just get real with yourself. Do I like it or not? And if you don't, it's one of the things you don't like in the area of body. The reason I wrote as if in the air, one area, is because something that is empowering to you and me is to recognize that what we don't like is a finite list. When we don't pay attention, it seems like it's infinite. It seems like our whole world sometimes it sucks and is overbearing. And therefore, we live in fantasy, focus on what feels good, like take your body. One day I'm going to get in better shape. The other real measurable area is your finances. You know how many people spend decades talking about retirement and how they want to prepare for retirement, and then when they get there, they never did the little things month over month that would have enabled them to build the retirement or future that they want to build financially, the ability to get financially independent, financially free. So it begins by facing the facts and realizing the facts are a finite list, and it may be 7 items. Let's see, 7. It may be 12. It may be 27. It's still finite. Even if it was 27 and you were only able to solve or work on 1 per month, then you're 27 months away in that area of your life from being on fire. So that's less than 3 years. If from where you are today in this pit, you can make radical ascension over the next 12 months towards where you want to be. In some of the areas, in 3 to 6 months, you could move from pit to peak and be on your way to where you would love to be 1 year from now. So the key to you taking what we talked about last week and looking at the current pit that you're in, the current reality of the frame that you live in, is just get in touch with the facts about where you're at in your body. List what you're not happy about. Get in touch with the facts of where you're at in your being, your connection with yourself and God. So let's get real specific on that one and make it easy. Do you like how you show up? Do you like your energy? Do you like your attitude? Do you like your flexibility and your curiosity. I can tell you for me, I woke up one day realizing I've lost my curiosity. I thought about the people I admire that make me feel good when I'm around them, and they ask great questions. They get me engaging. They ask things about me. I don't even realize. I had to pay attention and realize what was going on. But at first I just noticed I like this guy. I like hanging out with him. One of my buddies, he's just fantastic at constantly asking quality questions. And based on the answer, he gets curious and asks another question that gets me to look at it differently, gets him to look at it differently. And so I just realized I suck at being curious. So that was a fact I needed to recognize in the category of being. Another one is being pliable. In some areas, we get stuck in our ways. And so when we're stuck, we only see certain possibilities. So for me, those were two things that once I identified the facts that I didn't like it, now I could look at my new peak or possibility and say that sometime out in the future, let's say 12 months from now, I want to develop the skill sets and develop the habit of being curious, of leaning into the opportunity and leaning into the relationship, whether it's my wife, whether it's my sons, whether it's my daughter, whether it's a friend, whether it's a person I just met. And same thing, I want to lean into being pliable and not stuck in my ways and consider new ways to do things. So the one other area I would challenge you in being that people have a big issue with, and it's the elephant in the room no one wants to talk about, why not get really clear on the facts about where you stand with God? It's a big issue in life. You know it is. So don't sweat it. Maybe you just need to say, I don't know if I believe in God. Deep down inside, I'm afraid to say it out loud, but I'm not even sure if you're real. Or maybe for you, it's, I am sure that God's not real. Okay, if that's the fact, how do you feel about that is where we're going to head next week, because understanding the facts only becomes the most clear and meaningful when we see how it makes us feel. But on that God piece, I just want to share, if you're in turmoil about it, celebrate being free. The facts will set you free. So identifying the facts is the first step to freedom. So for today, as a reminder, in each of the 4 domains, in your health, in your being, in your balance, the relationships with your wife and kids and key people, and business and money, why don't you take out a piece of paper and list for each of those 4 dimensions, where am I at? What are the facts about what's not working for me? And then you can simply kind of get a vision for where you'd like to be in each of those areas 12 months from now. We're going to talk about that in more detail in a couple weeks. But for now, just where am I at? And in general, where would I like to be? And now you've created a vision of a pit to peak possibility. And the gap now is where we can go and start to look at how do we bridge that gap. And there's principles we'll look at. Next week, though, we're going to have to dig into what makes those facts so powerful and so meaningful and so useful. So first of all, I just want to applaud you for digging in and leaning in. If you missed the first week, the setup of understanding pit to peak, go back and listen to that. This one, share it with people you know that need to face facts in their life. You know most of the people you care about don't face the facts well. So share this with somebody who needs to hear it. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We'd love to have you hang out. Come back and listen next week. We're building on this. We're going somewhere. In the meantime, remember you have a choice every moment. Choose to make the holy shift. I'm David Barefoot, and this is the Holy Shift Podcast.